modern seed here. So Demir Wurza, this is a deck that we certainly saw last weekend, winning hands of Ely Cassis. Dominic Harvey has picked it up. Devin Caldwell playing this Heliod version of Collected Company. So there's some new combos in Modern with Heliod Suncrowned. Of course, Walking Bliss is the big one you see in Pioneer. But there's also some Spike Feeder combo, a 4 Spike Feeder deck for Caldwell.
I mean, the draw for this deck is basically Collected Company, the card, can find infinite life. If you find Heliod Suncrown and Spike Feeder, you gain infinite life. And that's pretty hard for most decks in the format to beat. Now, with that said, there are decks that do go over the top of that. And if you have 2 infinite combos battling against each other, whichever one goes second usually is the one that wins.
All right, looks like Harvey is on the play. He'll fetch and shock for Watery Grave. He's at 17. Fires off Inquisition of Kozilek. Sees a hand of Noble Hierarch, Spike Feeder, Ranger, Captain of Eos, Once Upon a Time, Razorverge Thicket, Windswept Heath, and a second Once Upon a Time.
And that Once Upon a Time card's kind of busted.
Yeah, you can't take him off of the free one with this discard spell.
Yeah. All right, so Harvey here in the tank, maybe consulting with Casey about which card to take. Ultimately ends on the Ranger Captain of Eos. I like that take because if taking Spike Feeder is kind of meh. Taking the Noble Hierarch, like he can probably find another copy, but the impact that Ranger Captain of Eos can have on the game is significant.
So that is the take. Caldwell goes to his turn. See if he wants to fire off Once Upon a Time before he starts. I imagine he'll want to do that before he casts a Hierarch at the very least.
Yeah, as we do in team tournaments, there's just a bit of consulting back and forth between teammates about something in the other match, I believe. Maybe a mulligan or something.
So there is the free Once Upon a Time. Taking a look at 5 cards.
Yeah, the first one, that's the broken one. Second one, that one's okay.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah. All right, Spider-Man.
I also... one thing to talk about, I know that Zan Sayed has been working some on this Spike Feeder version of the combo. And if you pay attention to Zan, which you should, he's playing 4 Spike Feeders. That one, probably leave that one in the hand.
Yeah.
Devoted Druid picked up off of Once Upon a Time.
It's kind of interesting seeing like these Collected Company decks come back, right? Like before, like everyone kind of moved to Finale of Devastation, various other tutor effects like Eladamri's Call. But now with Collected Company just being a way to generate an infinite combo, it's just such a slam dunk in this Heliod Company deck.
All right, Noble Hierarch comes down off the Razorverge Thicket. We go back over to Dominic Harvey. Thoughtseize is where he will start his turn.
My brain is just waiting for a Mox Opal to come down. I just can't get over it yet. It's gone.
Rest in peace, Mox Opal. Sees basically the same hand that he saw before Ranger Captain of Eos was the pickup, and there's that Devoted Druid he saw off the Once Upon a Time.
Now here, if you're Dom, if you don't have a removal solve for the Devoted Druid, it might be worth it just to take it. Simply put, the Devoted Druid can generate an infinite combo that kills you, whereas a Spike Feeder, I believe his version is the, let me double check on this. His version is the one playing.
He does have 4 Spike Feeders. Oh, so Domsville. Yes,
Domsville has Stopter Sword, so he can actually beat the infinite life. So taking Spike Feeder is actually not that relevant.
All right, the Ranger Captain the take once again. Then they, what's that one? Sunken something. Sunken Hollow. Not Sunken Ruins. That's the one that comes to mind for me. Sunken Hollow tapped for Harvey for the second land.
It's an interesting one.
A little Battle for Zendikar land.
Yeah, you can fetch those, and they don't deal you damage, but in order for them to enter the battlefield untapped, you need 2 more basics. But, you know, these snow decks are pretty known for playing a boatload of basics.
Apparently reprinted in a commander set, as you see on your screen there. Caldwell's going to use that Windswept Heath, going to fetch up a Godless Shrine. Going to 17 off of that, it looks like.
All right. Well, the Ranger Captain's gone. I don't know if he's going to play what he drew for the turn.
Looks like it was a copy of Heliod,
okay.
And that is the cast.
Now, next turn, all he has to do is cast Spike Feeder, and that'll generate infinite life. And that's going to require Dom to actually gain infinite Thopters in order to win. So we'll see how this goes.
Right, no third land. Here's the Spike Feeder. And that will get drowned in the lock. Harvey played a Spell Bomb, Nile Spell Bomb in his turn. Left up mana for that counterspell. Got the Spike Feeder.
Gotta say, I'm a huge fan of Drown the Lock. It's a little wonky in Pioneer because they're not fetch lands to fill the graveyard, but in Modern, it is stellar. It's just such a great Magic card.
Land number 4 for Harvey here is Scalding Tarn. It's kind of funny to see Drown in the Lock right next to Nihil Spellbomb.
Yeah.
Both of them certainly good cards, though. Caldwell's land last turn was a Marsh Flats. We're going to see him crack that. Down to 16. Temple Garden tapped to go back his way. We know about a Devoted Druid and a Once Upon a Time in hand.
Yeah, the Once Upon a Time can find another Spike Feeder if he really wants to, probably. But the joke of just like the infinite combo not doing anything is pretty funny to me. I don't know why. Just I play old school Splinter Twin guy here.
Sure.
Played a lot of games of Splinter Twin where my opponent gained infinite life with Malaria Pod.
I think the big one to me when I first started doing commentary, I covered a fair amount of Malaria Pod against Tron.
Sure.
Saw some games restarted.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
All right, here is that 2-mana Once Upon a Time for Caldwell. Finds a Vizier of Remedies. So he has that combo rolled up. But as far as we know, nowhere to go with it.
Yeah, but it's not hard to find something to do with infinite mana. Gonna cast a Devoted Druid here with the other 2 mana. Heliod's kind of sitting back a little bit because it's not currently a creature.
And it's a little tough to make a creature.
I would guess that it's almost impossible in the deck. You need like all 4 Viziers or something.
Yeah, those
Or
Ranger
some
captains are
okay,
doing
okay.
some heavy lifting.
Those have some double pips. Yeah, that's fair.
It is a 3 Kitchen Finks deck. So there is that.
Sure. Kitchen Finks also works decently well with Heliod and a Sacrifice Outlet. Gains infinite life, no big deal.
No action on the Druid for Harvey as he will start by cracking that Nihil Spellbomb and drawing a card. I believe he has a Fatal Push in hand. There it is. Fires that off on the Druid. And back over to Harvey. Snow-covered island, leaving that Scalding Tarn uncracked, and he'll just pass after playing the land.
It's so weird to me how much different these Dimir Wurza decks look now, you know? I mean, obviously, Dom hasn't drawn a bunch of the Arkham's Astrolabes and Mishra's Baubles and such, but, like, just the raw number of artifacts in these decks has dipped significantly, thanks to the exit of Mox Opal.
Saw Horizon Canopy played and cracked by Caldwell there. And that Razorverge Thicket, I believe, was played as an extra land. We'll put that back in the hand. Not that it's of any value. He has a 2-mana spell and nowhere to go.
Yeah, he wasn't actually tapping it for mana. He just played it tapped and then gave the Noble Hierarch lifelink so he could attack with it and put a counter on it.
A Noble Hierarch will come and attack for 1. I believe it got lifelink, and now it's going to grow. So Heliod first activates for 2, gives it lifelink, it connects for 1, Harvey to 14, Caldwell to 17, and then it gets a +1/+1 counter off of Heliod's ability.
Right. Now, the small ball stuff with Heliod is pretty powerful in weaker formats, and it's fine here, and it's something to do. The fact that it's constantly threatening an infinite combo, but also just has the ability to just slowly grow all your creatures when they attack, it's pretty damn good.
Harvey plays Mystic Sanctuary in his turn, puts Drown in the Lock on top, passes back. See, Caldwell once again goes for the same play. Attack with Hierarch, give it lifelink. This time the attack's for 2. That works. Harvey to 12, Caldwell to 19, Hierarch grows. Now we see that Thicket show up. And just draws the Drown and passes, does Harvey.
Wants to have that counterspell ready or removal spell. I think he has a Cryptic Command in hand as well.
Vizier of Remedies shows up for Caldwell. Hierarch attacks and gets lifelink again. This time for 3 damage.
That now Spellbomb, Drown the Lock is not a combo, gotta say.
Not so much. It can still deal with these 1- and 2-mana creatures, though.
Yeah, it doesn't counter a Collected Company, though, which is interesting. But here, Dom actually has War of Invention. He's going to use that to go get Thopter Foundry. And then he's going to fetch, go get another Mystic Sanctuary, and put the War of Invention back on top. This is a common play pattern we saw right when the deck was first created by Team Lotus Box a few months back. But has slowly left the deck, but now, with Mox Opal gone, you need that kind of like little mini tutor engine with War Invention to really assemble that combo. It's really nice.
So he fetched to 8 for the trouble, but we know he's about to gain a fair amount of life.
Yeah, I don't know if he has Urza to roll it up for infinite yet and make infinite Thopters, but Thopter's Sword is good enough to beat what is currently on the battlefield from Devin Caldwell. He doesn't have an infinite combo set up. Dom actually has access to that Drown in the Lock to prevent an infinite combo. So
Caldwell is going to fetch to 21. I believe that in addition to the known Whir and Drown in the Lock, the last card in Harvey's hand is Cryptic Command.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Really strong holdings there.
Yeah, the combination of holding up Word Invention / Cryptic Command is pretty good. Now he is at 8. So if Caldwell forces him to play the Cryptic Command this turn and he's able to attack first, he's going to be putting Dominic in maybe a tough spot because that Word Invention does soak up most of his mana for the turn. But luckily for him, he can Word Invention for 2 and spend 2 mana to make 2 things or cast Drown in the Lock.
Caldwell has something. He will cast Kitchen Finks.
Okay, here the Vizier and the Helad kind of play the same role of putting a counter back on the Kitchen Finks whenever it would enter the battlefield, effectively.
Yeah, he's shy of the Sacrifice Outlet. 1 Viscera Seer hanging out in the deck. Ranger Captain of Eos, the 4 copies of that are supposed to help you find those.
Yeah, and the 2 copies of Finale of Devastation can grab it too. Oh.
Looks like left side of the table doing pretty well for themselves. Casey Lancaster and Dylan Hand have won their first games over Evan Appleton and Chad Uzzell, respectively. So looks like Harvey's thinking about how he wants to respond to this Kitchen Finks. One thing about it is it resolving and gaining 2 life does mean the Heliod gets to grow one of these creatures again. And that is where we are. Caldwell to 23 off of the Kitchen Finks trigger. Now we'll see what Heliod wants to do. It's going to grow the Vizier. That now a 4-power creature.
All right. The Knuckleheads are rumbling across. This is not lethal. Dom can soak 6 damage here and be relatively safe. Into turn, Word Invention, and then make 2 Thopters go back up to 4 with 2 blockers. And then after that has Cryptic Command plus Drown the Lock at the ready for basically the remainder of it.
So here is that Whir for the combo. Gets to tap the Thopter Foundry to cast it, as you mentioned. Leaves up 2 mana.
Now, something you might see here, Dom might actually just go make 2 Thopters, do some gang blocking, and he's going to do that, simply put, the shields are down. Like, Devin has gone down to only 2 untapped mana. There's not a whole lot that he's really threatening here, and Dom feels a little bit of weakness, going to go ahead and make 2 Thopters, one of which is going to be equipped with a sword, and then they can double block and eat, or sorry, not eat, but like trade for the Vizier or the Noble Hierarch, I believe. Both having 3 toughness.
So it was the double block on Vizier. Hierarch comes across, but Harvey gained 2 life, so he'll end up back at 8.
All right. Let's see if Devin Caldwell can assemble one of his infinite combos, because as it stands, it's pretty hard to beat Thopter Sword on a fair level.
So now we're going to see Caldwell fetch, post-combat, finds Overgrown Tomb.
All right. Going back Devin's way, take a draw. We'll see what he can do in the face of this powerful 1-2 punch of Thopter Sword. All it took was 1 Word Invention and a fetch land. I just want to point that out. Word Invention is a phenomenal card in this style of strategy. if you want to be using Thopter Sword. It's so good, especially with the new Mystic Sanctuary, just being able to rebuy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention that Harvey just hanging out with a pretty flush hand of counter backup.
Yeah, it looks like Archmage's Charm, Drown the Lock, and Cryptic Command, but that last blue card might be something that I'm mistaking for Cryptic Command.
So here is a Devoted Druid for Caldwell. Previously, that Vizier of Remedies did have to trade away in combat, so that's not terribly threatening right now.
All right, so the attack from Kitchen Finks, I believe, puts Dom down to 5, but then he's going to gain 4 life up, back up to 9. And the life totals are going to get a little wonky here. We're just going to confirm with the players and stuff to make sure everybody's on the same page. But here, Dom can maybe even start turning the corner and start attacking with at least a couple of Thopters each time.
Yeah. Basically, Harvey is going to gain a good amount of life and have just chump blockers against these non-trampling attackers. He's only vulnerable to a combo at this stage in the game.
Right.
And you saw him very wisely there tap only enough to make Thopters, leaving up Drown in the Lock the whole time. Caldwell now is a pretty stock graveyard that'll counter basically anything.
Yeah, and he's holding up Drown in the Lock. There's not a whole lot of instances, but one of the instances that will just basically kill him on the spot sometimes is Collect a Company. So if he puts the shields down for like a second, there's a chance he just loses the game.
So Kitchen Finks attacks again, and Harvey has that choice. Do I want to block with the Thopter? Do I not? Whatever. I take the damage. I gain the life back.
Right. Kind of in a holding pattern, but Dom's making 4 Thopters a turn. I feel like he's pretty advantaged here.
Yeah, takes 4, gains 4, 4 more Thopters, giving Nick Miller some much-deserved camera time.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Thopters in play over the last year or so. In Modern specifically, it's just been a ton of these like really powerful Thopter generators, and you know, I like to let it go most of the time. I just want to point out, Nick's a colorless Thopter.
The Thopter finally makes blue Thopters.
It does make blue Thopters for no reason. You know, I have literally in Legacy pyroblasted a Thopter token.
Yeah, the Thopter Sword combo, assuming that they aren't gaining too much life, is actually kind of vulnerable to sort of Fire and Ice. We see that come up sometimes.
Right. Whenever it's not infinite, that extra damage can really stack up quick.
We should get a blue overlay. Like a little elk stamp, just put blue on all the little Nick Millers out there.
Yeah. Just get Nick to sign it, and it just says this one is blue. All right, attack for 4 again. Going to give it lifelink to gain a little bit of life and put a counter on something.
And if Harvey was really concerned about life totals, he could make a Thopter to block and sacrifice that before damage, but he's not concerned.
Right.
It's well more worth it to just leave up the mana for these counter spells.
Right, for sure. I mean, having double counter at instant or at basically during your opponent's whole turn is great, and then you know the Drown the Lock is the safety valve for the Collect a Company.
And here we see everyone's favorite post-combat Noble Hierarch. Not that it matters. So you see Harvey make some more Thopters. 4 more on the way.
I mean, at this point, I think Devin understands he's not really going to win the game by attacking with the Kitchen Finks. Playing the Noble Hierarch pre-combat is actually, I think, slightly worse than playing it after combat because of just the information gap.
And I'm sure he's aware of Harvey's ability to just turn that lifelink off as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, you attacked with all of them last turn. Let's attack with most of them this turn. How about that?
As long as he attacks with some of them. What is this? Is that 9 Thopters?
I don't know, man.
Looks like about 9 Thopters.
I wish they would just put a die on untap versus tap versus equipped or something. You know?
So when I'm actually playing the games, I prefer this. It's very overwhelming for the opponent.
Well, that's a jerk move.
Yeah. Dice don't do it. Still, like that, the Noble Hierarch has 2 dice on it. Still just a dumpy little Noble Hierarch. That's not threatening anybody. Big old stack of Nick Millers.
Yeah.
That'll get a concession. As we see, Dominic Harvey does pick up game number 1. A sweep in the first game for that left side of the screen.
Yeah, and because all 3 games on the left-hand side were finished with Harvey, Lancaster, and Hand, we're actually going to be moving over to the standard match, Dylan Hand versus Chad Uzzell. And we're going to be watching that Team of Reclamation strategy battling its mono red aggro. A little bit of, well, one of my favorite decks ever, Team of Reclamation.
Got a
lot of new toys.
One of my favorite decks ever, mono red aggro.
I actually am a big mono red aggro fan. I don't know if you know this about me. I've played a lot of mono red aggro in my day. Me and the boss, he was kind of my roommate for a little bit.
That guy's pretty good at mono red.
Oh, for sure. When he first moved to Roanoke, he stayed in my house for like a month or two while he was like looking for a place and everything. It's great. So.
I know that you are a very early adopter of these Team of Reclamation. You're not into taking extra turns. You're trying to cast big explosions. How have you felt about the mono-red matchup?
The mono-red matchup's always been pretty tough. It might have changed with the printing of the sweeper.
Storm's Wrath.
Storm's Wrath. I was going to say Wrath of the Storms. I knew that wasn't right. I was looking at the deck list. Sorry. Generally speaking, you know, they're low to the ground. You have some amount of interaction, but not a ton. If you draw Storm's Wrath and you are able maybe even to growth spiral into it, things look pretty great. Euro Titan.
Is that a Chandra's Pyrohelix taking a 2-for-1 early in the matchup here?
I was going to continue with a thought, but that's a lot.
Basically Pyroclasm.
Chandra's Pyroclasm. Says it on the thing.
Got some fancy extended border lands over here for Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm being told that that's a Temple of Abandon.
It is a Temple of Abandon. Green-red Scryland, able to cast that Chandra's Pyrohelix, which Eric clapped on those two little early creatures. But Euro, I think, is the saving grace for this deck in this particular matchup. Not only does it let you ramp, gaining that 3 life, having a big, thick thing that can come back after you play some of your spells in the early turns, and just continually gaining life in the face of those burn spells and those cheap attacks and stuff. Euro is just an excellent addition to these decks.
On turn 3, Uzzell had Annex hardened in the Forge, but his creatures already died. That ability to replace them with satyrs, not really mattering here, and he was only able to attack for 2 on turn 4. So now we see another attack for 2 from Annex.
Wow. He didn't play, he had Embercleave. He could have just played it and dealt potentially a lot more damage. But I think he was baiting, because here, hand actually going for the Scorching Dragonfire, and he can't play the Embercleave anymore because the creature's no longer attacking, and he doesn't even get the Satyr tokens because of Exiles!
Yeah, so the logic there would be to get in the damage in case of Dragonfire, but then, like you said, you don't actually get counterplay as long as hand doesn't cast it in combat. Yeah. So it's kind of a rock and a hard place scenario. No wins there, and I think the other card in Uzzell's hand is Claim the Firstborn, also not doing much on this battlefield.
No. And it is okay against Euro, right? It's pretty good, but it's not that good. You get to steal it for a turn, attack, gain 3 life, deal 6, draw a card, play an extra land or whatever. But, like, they just gain 3 life, so it's not like it's usually not killing them, especially from an empty battlefield. Like, it would be much better if it was, like, a heavy battlefield with you had a bunch of creatures. Maybe Dylan has, like, a bunch of tap stuff or whatever. I don't know.
And here's a sign of strength.
Absolute boy!
Hand just
Chadwick!
Shocking to
Get in
cast
there!
Gadwick the Wizen. No concern for his life total. And why should he be concerned?
God, I get so pumped about that card. I don't know. Something comes over me.
I couldn't tell.
Like a wild animal. It's like Sphinx's Revelation, just attached to it 3/3 that benefits for whenever you play stuff at instant speed.
Not bad.
It's pretty good. It is a 1/0 in Dylan Hand's main deck. It's doing some work here.
A Stomp and a Bone Crusher Giant for Uzzell. That, at best, is going to trade with this Gadwick. I'm not even convinced that's going to happen. His Growth Spiral for hand. Not even going to tap the Giant.
Good thing Bone Crusher Giant is a spell only and not ability. Otherwise, this Gadwick might actually deal lethal on accident, like reverse lethal on accident.
Right. Gadwick just attacks. Hand is not concerned about that Giant. Uzzell to 17 from the attack, so go back his way, see if he can figure something to do. Though Hand with a pretty full grip.
Okay, looks like he's hard casting the Brazen. No, he put it on
Petty Theft. Ooh, that doesn't work. You cannot Petty Theft your own permanents as far as I understand, so let's see what we can do about that.
Yeah, we're going to have to
I've
stop
played
this
a
quick.
bit with Brazen Borrower, and that's one of the weaknesses of the card. Can't block, can't bounce your own stuff. So I think we're going to have to check in on the match here. Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. So that Gadwick, not a legal target for petty theft.
No, and if we'll just like let the judges basically figure this out, because this is going to be a pretty complex little rewind. It's not that big of a deal, and it will be fixed pretty quickly.
As I like to say, this is above my pay grade. Got some other matches we can check in with. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I love hopping around. All right, I think Dylan's got this one pretty wrapped up anyway. He's going to Euro again pretty quick. You know, he's not recasting the Gadwick, but I think that this is mostly wrapped up. It's up to you, Ryan. You call it.
Yeah, let's check. Let's check a modern. Let's go see some modern. We watched a little bit of modern. Or Pioneer. Let's do anything but this. How do you feel about anything but this?
Anything but this is good.
All right. See some nice Wurza cards here in the hand of Dominic Harvey. On the draw, though, Horizon Canopy Go. That's where Devin Caldwell will start things off. We saw Dominic Harvey win game number 1 before we checked in on Standard.
Move.
Harvey will start the game with Mishra's Bobble, targeting Caldwell for fetching. I imagine this is going to be followed up by a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition. That's usually why you target your opponent with the Bobble.
Yeah, especially that quickly. Especially in this deck where every artifact matters for stuff like Urza. Not so much for Opal anymore, though. I got to relearn all these play patterns, man. This is breaking my brain.
Snow-covered swamp to find off the Catacomb. Harvey to 19. And we'll see what the follow-up is. It's actually Arkham's Astrolabe, so no discard spell. He'll draw off of the trigger there and pass. Getting word that our Pioneer table's all tied up now. Harvey wisely remembers his Mishra's Bobble trigger as we see what Caldwell can do in turn 2. And it's just a tapped Godless Shrine, a very slow start for the Heliod Company deck.
Yeah, no mana creature on 1 or 2. This is very strange. I have to imagine this hand is just very combo-centric, or Mulligan's really tore him apart this game. Looks like he's got a full grip, though, so honestly, I have no idea.
So Harvey draws for turn. I know he has at least one more Astrolabe in the hand. See what he wants to get busy with here.
He's conferring with a teammate. I believe he has a Pithing Needle that he's considering casting, maybe asking what case he thinks he should name out of the deck.
Sword of the Meek will be the cast. I have a Snow-covered Island as land number 2. I'm sure for Harvey, he's wondering, why on earth is my Noble Hierarch opponent doing nothing on turn 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Razorverge Thickets, land number 3. Here's Ranger Captain of Eos. That's something that I'm sure Dom surmised. Maybe respecting a possible Reclamation Sage in the opener.
Sure.
Ranger Captain's going to go find Caustic Caterpillar.
That's a hot one. You don't see that one too much, though. It randomly creeps up in Pioneer sometimes, so I don't really know why. It's like you pay 1 mana, right, for this, and then you spend 2 and sack it to destroy an artifact or enchantment. So it's like Reclamation Sage, but you have to sacrifice the body. It makes a ton of sense with Ranger Captain of Eos because it costs 1.
That just works.
Right, it just checks out.
I only know this card because I love Magic Origins Limited. That's the only reason I know that card.
I only know this card because people randomly played it in their Pioneer sideboard, and I don't understand why.
Not saying that I ever put that card in my Magic Origins draft decks. It was just a card in packs.
Well, looks like I'm going to eat crow on this one, but apparently Dylan Hand lost that game somehow. I guess maybe they rewound it and he had to like take a big chunk from the Bone Crusher Giant or something. I don't know. Curious to see how that finishes up at least.
I mean, if all that hand had for interaction was that petty theft, that Embercleave might have forced some unfortunate action.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. I know he had like 2 copies of Storm's Wrath, but probably didn't want to cast it. I guess he just got clowned by Embercleave. That makes a lot of sense.
Here's Astrolabe number 2 for Harvey, and Scalding Tarn will be land number 3. Passes then.
I can tell you exactly how that game ended. Just in the dark.
All right.
Claim the firstborn, targeting a Euro that came back. Put a
Cleave it
Ember
up?
Cleave on it, dude.
Oh, baby.
Just smash you for 14.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. All right, attack from the Ranger Captain. Going to follow it up here with the Caustic Caterpillar. Doesn't really do a ton at the moment. These artifacts don't really need to be on the battlefield. They've already done their job. We're going to hold our standard match so y'all can see the finale of that after the conclusion of this game, probably. Especially if Dom's the one that takes this game and the match ends. I want to see who wins. I just love Team Reclamation. I wish we were watching that match personally. I don't make the decisions, though. That's Mr. Nick Miller.
Well, it's important to voice your dissent on the broadcast.
Oh, I agree. Look, I need the people on my side. So.
Land number 4, just the Caterpillar.
I'm just a
for
guy.
Caldwell leaves it up. You're more than just a guy. You're an industry professional, Todd.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I knew you would not be able to handle that. Harvey's
It's so not true. Oh, it's embarrassingly untrue.
Harvey's going to fetch end step down to 15. Finds another snow-covered island. You see the Cold Snap Modern Horizons spread there.
Hate it.
I want to know if he's got the trifecta. Do we have an Ice Age hanging out? There's a lot of snow-covered islands. Is that a 7? There's 7 of them?
Okay, I was going to say, you started looking at the deck list. I'm like, I'm pretty sure the deck list won't show if he's playing.
Right, yeah. I just wanted to see how
Ice
many.
Age. Yeah. This is a hot one.
Man, an attempt at Fatal Push and a Veil of Summer. Thanks for playing.
That's a good card.
Remember that card? Remember that card that's only legal in one of the 3 formats, but in a set that's legal in all of them?
That's weird. What about that Oko card? Is it legal in any of them?
That's going to be a negatory. That's
It's
an
not in all of
offer.
them?
That's an
That's
offer.
an 0 for 3?
That's an offer.
Oh, man. Maybe they should just do that with every card printed in 2019. Just saying. Just saying.
You let me keep Lava Dart.
Okay. Well, we have two-thirds of the combo here. Urza, Lord High Artificer, comes in, creates a Construct. We're going to get that token fixed because, holy jeez, that's an eyesore.
Yeah. Got to get the Matthias Hunt math bot.
Oh, yeah. I am Matthias. I like doing commentary and math.
More math than commentary these days.
That's fair.
I imagine. I don't know how much
I mean,
math
I hope
he's doing.
so. I don't know how much magic he's doing either.
Go back to Caldwell. Here's a Noble Hierarch. That construct over there looks like a 4/4 right now.
Yep.
So this allows the Ranger Captain to attack.
Yeah, and hilariously enough, if he really wanted to, if the construct blocked, Caldwell could burn the Caustic Caterpillar to blow up a different artifact to shrink it down to a 3/3. A little limited style action happening in the feature match here right now.
Another Ranger Captain shows up after the first bumps Harvey to 11. Finds Viscera Seer.
Nice.
The one of the sacrifice outlet for the Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, the Ranger Captains play a great role in this archetype. Not only can they find the important 1-drops, but they can also find Walking Ballista. And there's a number of combos that work with Walking Ballista, from the Infinite Mana with Devoted Druid and Vizier, all the way to Heliod, just letting you put a million counters on it. Oh, no, dude.
There's War of Invention as we go back to Harvey. That assembles the full combo.
Now, he did this in response to a sacrifice of the Ranger Captain of Vios. So this is just a complete 180. This game is just, I don't know. Caldwell literally has to have an infinite combo next turn or he's dead. That's it. That's the game.
Yeah, we see about to see Infinite Life and Infinite Thopters for Dominic Harvey. And Casey Lancaster picks up the win for his team in Pioneer. 2-1 over Evan Appleton. That means if Harvey closes this game with this infinite combo, which it seems like he's pretty dang likely to, we're going to see his team win the match.
All right, let's make Infinity Thopter. Do we have an Infinity symbol for the life total?
Let's get a blue and Infinity overlay for Nick Miller, please. He has made probably more than 12 tokens. Not sure what those dice are meant to represent. I'll have to check in with Dom. There must be some math thing that I'm too stupid to
Yeah,
understand.
Well, he has 10 to the power of 2, probably, or something like that. Or 2 to the power of 10.
What if it's 4 to the power of 2 times 6?
2 to the power of 10, how much is that? That's an outrageous amount, right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
There's really no way of knowing.
There is not. Because it's arbitrarily large.
I would go with 2 4 sideways. Sideways 8. Yeah, that's infinite. All right, let's see what Caldwell can do about it. Now he's untapping. He could bust up the Foundry, but it did its job.
It did do its job. Harvey at some outrageously high life total. And he did all this while Caldwell was tapped out too. So there was no way for him to untap and break up the combo, before he could gain all the infinite life and make all the infinite Thopters. Please stop messing. Okay, we get it.
No, this is great.
Dominic.
This I understand.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
I understand this. This officially obviously means nothing and is a joke. That's my territory. That's where I shine. That's where I shine. I'm home now. When I thought it was a real math thing, no idea what's going on. But
right.
Devin Caldwell knows what's going on. He knows that Dominic Harvey has infinite tokens and he has no reverse combo. So Dominic Harvey, Casey Lancaster, and Dylan Hand can advance.